Alright, we're in Sydney, Ohio at the local Tawawa Park. We're at a Civil War reenactment behind us. I believe it's supposed to be somewhat of a reenactment of the battle at Antietam. We are preparing. We are getting ready for our trip out east. Our first part of our trip is to Gettysburg, so we thought this was a good beginning to get us ready to get to Gettysburg and learn more about the battles at Gettysburg.
Now John woke up at 4:30 a.m. like we were going to Disney World, but he's been waiting to get to Gettysburg for a while. Been watching all kinds of videos and he's been talking about Pickett's charge all the way here pretty much. So it's pretty exciting for you to have this day, even in the rain. He's got a big smile on his face.
Pickett's charge. He wasn't too happy with the order to charge because he knew coming through these fields he was open to the Union soldiers, the artillery. The story is that even though it's called a charge, they weren't moving all that at that fast of a pace. I think they were marching at the regular maybe 100 yards per minute. But they weren't rushing to get over here. We're taking this little Gettysburg tour on about almost the opposite of what it was on weather-wise that it was that day. They said July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd were the hottest days of that summer. So in the distance you can see the statue of General Lee. He came out to watch Pickett's charge. And it's over a mile. On the other side of the field, a mile away, was General Meade. And I think you might be able to see his statue in the distance there. So now we're on the Union side, Cemetery Hill. In the distance, you can see Grant up on his horse looking over Pickett's charge, and now we're on the Union side of that charge made by Pickett and others. So this is the part of what they called the fishhook Union line. This wall is part of that line, and you can see that the Confederates had to march over a mile or around a mile through rock, through some hills to reach this point. Over to the right by that tree, the Confederates did take over this line, but the Union reinforced that and quickly took it back to save the Union. This is called the angle, and you can see the formation of the rock wall, how it angles here and turns down. And this angle is also said to be the high water mark, and this is where the Confederates reached the Union line. But that's the high water mark. This is where the Confederates on their charge made it to the Union line, took over the Union line, thought they had victory, and then Meade reinforced the Union and Union quickly took this angle back over to save the Union.
Yeah.
All right, we're charging up the hill.
Pickett's charge.
There's the Union forces. We dodged all the bullets, all the cannonballs at us. We make one last surge. This is the weak part, the center part of the Union line. We attack the weak part. And here we overtake the Union. We take the cannon. Quickly we're overtaken by reinforcements, and we lose this charge, and it turned the Civil War to the Union side. The soldiers, when they were charging, had to climb over that, or not climb, but walk on that. And really, it's slippery. Even though it's raining now, it makes it a little bit more slippery. But
they said their shoes were in bad shape too, right?
Right. And it just made it a little bit more treacherous trying to make that charge, that mile charge to the Union line. But this kind of rock is all over the fields out there, and it made it tougher for the rebels to attack.
Ooh, I'm even slipping, and I got tread on my boots.
We're starting the car app to take the tour of the battles of Gettysburg.
Welcome to historic Gettysburg. This hallowed ground is the site of one of the most important conflicts in American history, the Civil War Battle of Gettysburg. Here, Union forces staged a nearly impossible defense against Confederate attackers, and won.
Started. Set to go 25 miles an hour. Looks like we're getting right up here. We're gonna have our first stop as a little icon.
Continue straight. We heard already, Confederate troops try to encroach, but Buford's cavalry defend with heavy fire. Bodies of Confederate soldiers litter these fields. That's when Union General Reynolds arrives with reinforcements. This also includes regiments under General Lysander Cutler.
Okay, honey, would you advise people to take the Gettysburg auto tour?
I would. A couple of suggestions though.
Okay.
To have a map of the battlefields. So when you're driving around and you're going north, south, east, west all the time,
You have an idea.
have an idea where you're. And the second thing is, don't be afraid to get out of the car and go look at things. You don't have to stay on the sidewalk. You can walk through the fields. There's paths to take. So I would advise you to do that also.
Yeah, I definitely think if we were to spend more time here, we would be taking hikes for sure.
Oh, for sure.
And our plan is to come back someday, especially when we get to that retirement period in our lives, to come back and spend some time at an RV park here and do some hiking and have a good time.
Hiking and biking the paths of the battlefields.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
But it's more expansive than what you think. It's miles and miles of driving, and if you're going to walk and bike that, you'd have to be aware of actually how long it's going to take you. Saw some Boy Scouts hiking. It was kind of neat to see that.
The scout leader was in a good mood. Some of the boys were not, but yeah.
What are your thoughts about the Gettysburg Address by Lincoln?
If I was there, he was a humble man. He felt that the attention shouldn't be on him. the attention should be on all of the soldiers that died here, that gave their lives to fight for our country.
Every time I hear it, it makes me a little sad. Kind of brings tears to my eyes. Did the soldiers die in vain? Is the United States living up to its beliefs and ideas? So, one of the greatest speeches given of all time of any leader, and I think it's something that we should all strive to live for and live up to. And I'm not one to bash the United States. You know, I love the United States, but we need to live up to our greatest ideas.
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
Until next time, let our next trail help you find your next trail.